I haven't bought anything for a while. I made a video a little while ago about my 3-watch collection, and that's pretty much felt like the culmination of everything that I was looking for. When I started the channel, I talked about how I wanted to make the perfect 3-watch collection. And in a lot of ways, I have that. The problem is, one, I have a YouTube channel where I talk about watches, which gives me exposure to different watches and changes sort of how I feel. The other problem is I have a watch bug. I have an addiction, like probably many of you, and it's fun to change out what's in your collection, to try and tweak it, to try and change it. The problem is I keep going for the same designs historically, and right now I'm a little bored with those designs. And by extension, it means that I'm thinking about changing my collection pretty drastically. Now, if you're someone like me, you can let me know in the comments. The problem here is sentiment. You end up developing attachment to these. And I think that's the entire point. The point of watches is stories. The point of watches is feelings and history. And that's why we care so much about a brand's history, because that's so much a part of the feeling of whatever we're buying. Is the history of the person that had it before, or the history of you buying it, or any of that sort of thing, all plays into it, including the brand history. And so it's difficult to figure out exactly how all that comes together to decide whether or not you keep something, because I'm sure you're like me. We do not have unlimited funds. I cannot spend every dime I own on watches as much as part of me would want to do that. There are many other things I still enjoy outside of watches, like gym equipment or home theater stuff, or anything to do with me and my wife going on a date or going on a ski trip. All that stuff's still important. And so you have to balance those things. Now, if you look at a watch collection, what you typically see is a lot of the same stuff. And I think that's a common criticism that people have with my watches, but there's typically a reason. It's because most people buy one or two. If they're lucky in their entire lives, they buy a couple really expensive watches. And really expensive is different for different people. But that's pretty much it. Now, there are a few people out there that buy like 40, $200 watches, and they have like vaults of, all these different Seikos or Citizens and Casios. And I think all those are great watches as well. They're different collecting methodologies. But for those of us that spend large amounts of money on these things, we typically keep them relatively small unless we've been at it for years. And I haven't been at it long enough to where I can amass an enormous collection. And I don't necessarily know that I want to, because I want to wear them all. Because I like changing it up, I'm considering selling one or two of my 3 pieces that were my core collection. Now, the problem there is sentiment, as I described earlier. If you're someone like me, you tend to feel the memories behind these, or that holds you back, or it makes you regret when you end up selling something. You're also probably like me in that you want to hoard these things. Once you have it, you want to keep it. And it's very difficult to break that sort of feeling. And even after you get rid of it, then again, like I say, you regret it. So it's difficult to manage those things. I explained before I'm interested in a Breitling Navitimer. I miss my Speedmaster as well. I have lusted after some sort of Grand Seiko, probably one of their dress models, because their sports models are maybe not my cup of tea. There are a lot of different things out there. And then obviously there's a whole world of dress watches in higher price points that I'm never really going to touch unless I just handle them in a jewelry store, which is fine, but I'm talking about the ones I wear day in, day out. The problem that I have right now is I think I have 3 daily drivers. And again, that's a criticism people have said in the comments. While I love the Tudor Pelagos 39, while I love the Explorer and the Explorer 2, there's a lot of bleed over there. I could wear at least the Explorer and the Pelagos every day, pretty much, and it wouldn't make a difference. But if I could go back, I still wouldn't have changed what I've purchased so far. The problem is figuring out how that fits moving forward. So part of me is looking for feedback, and part of me is also looking for new ideas. While I love to be scrolling on eBay all day, every day to try and find something that fits what I'm looking for, I'm looking to you guys to give me suggestions as well of things that I ought to explore that are a little bit different, that are a little bit more exciting, that might spice up what I otherwise have as a boring collection, because that's typically what I have purchased or what I like have been classics. When you first get into the watch game, all you're focused on are the classics or the big pieces that you lust after, like a Speedmaster or an Explorer or a Datejust or a Submariner. All that stuff you focus on, and that's why most people buy one of those and that's it. And I commend them. I envy them. But for someone like myself that has a channel that talks about watches, that is in this space and thinks about it on a day-to-day basis, I tend to think about how I want it to evolve, how I want it to change. And one of those things is the fact that I'd like different. I'd like something that's a little bit out there. I'd like more color. I've looked at Panerai. I've looked at vintage Heuer. I've obviously looked at Breitling and been interested in them for a long time. And I'm interested a little bit in gold pieces, although I don't know how often I would wear them. It's different. It spices it up a little bit. So if you're watching this video, give me an idea. I understand that boring is probably the point of many of these watches because they're supposed to be daily wears for people that buy them once. But I'm looking for new ideas. I'm looking for new concepts. I'm also looking for input on your collections. If you're someone out there that has a watch collection, you want to share it, let me know. I'm more than happy to tell the story behind some watches in a watch collection on a video. I would love to do that, to share all of your watch collections with the world. So if that's something that interests you, let me know. My email's down below, as well as my Instagram. Either one's fine to reach out to me. I want to share interesting and exciting news about watches that are coming out. And I want to share more down-to-earth technical information as well as stories. That is what I want to focus on this channel. And so if you can help me on the story end, that would be great. That's pretty much it. Suggestions for watches down below, please. I'm looking and I'm trying to figure out what fits what I'm after. As I said, I have a few things bouncing around in my head, but I'm starting the hunt today. And if you're interested in sharing your collection, like I said, email and Instagram down below. Thanks for watching. Please do me a favor and subscribe. Want to share these stories with everyone. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.